So welcome to the first video of 2023. This is Todd, and he lives about 30 minutes away from Ryunohara if you drive fast, 40 minutes if you drive slow. So we're here at his house, and Todd, can you tell us a bit more about yourself? How do you come here?
Yeah.
Who you are? Tell us all about yourself.
Okay, my name is Todd Van I'm an American citizen living in Japan as a permanent resident. I have a daughter in the 3rd grade of elementary school at the local school. I've been living here about just shy of 18 years, and I've done various jobs. And after I quit my last job, I was kind of thinking about what to do next.
Yeah.
And a local acquaintance, he's now 93, a 93-year-old, very successful farmer,
Right.
introduced me to this land, and I wasn't thinking about buying land at all. But I started coming here, just thinking about the property and exploring around it. And I mean, it's incredibly beautiful. There's lots of different environments. There's about 5 hectares, or just shy of 12 acres, including farmland, forested hillsides, streams and rivers, an old house. Just lots of stuff to do and explore. It's a lot of work to take care of, but I really, as I came here time over time, I really just fell in love with the environment. And the elderly farmer taught me about the history of the place. It has more than a 400-year-old history. It was farmed before any other area in this neighborhood, so it's got a very old history. We'll see some forest land. Before forest, it was ume plums. Before that, it was silk production. I guess 20 people used to walk in and work there every day. So I mean, it's just got this amazing history that we'll never know, you know,
Okay.
all of it. And I figured, well, you know, land is fairly cheap in Wakayama. The owner wanted to sell. Even if I fail at doing anything else, I'll have a really beautiful private campground, so why not? So
Okay.
I bought it.
Okay, so I have lots of questions for him. We'll ask him questions later at the house. But first, Todd is going to give me a tour of the property. It's quite beautiful, so we're going around first. Okay. Question about this, Todd.
Yeah.
So, the last time you showed me this was wild because all these rocks are not, they are not easy to put here. They're from the river, obviously.
Yeah.
And some people had to spend lots of time putting all these things. And I'm assuming this used to be a rice terrace, or
Yeah, I
do
don't
you know
know.
anything about this place?
I don't think that the water that they used to pipe in came all to this elevation, so it was probably vegetables, or it may have been mulberries for silk production.
And now it's all sugi.
Yeah, after that they planted ume, and they had ume for 60 or 70 years, and then after the war they planted the sugi. And there's some hinoki here as well.
See, these trees are 60 years old,
I believe
70 years
so.
old.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you plan to do with all these trees? Because now it's part of your property. Do you have to maintain them? How does it work?
Yeah, so the next step in doing these, you can see they're a little small and they're a little close together. And here and there are some that are too close together. They're fighting for nutrients. So Wakayama Prefecture offers financial support for thinning them. So I will ask a forestry company to thin them for me. And in this case, the forestry company does all of the work and all the paperwork. I don't do anything, I don't pay anything, it's all taken care of for me.
Okay, and what do you do with the trees that are thinned out? Because there's no road leading out. I assume you don't want to carry all the trees out, so...
No. Yeah, the thin trees will stay on the property and I'll gradually cut them for firewood.
So
Yeah.
lifetime
Lifetime supply of firewood.
lifetimes of firewood. So are you planning to do anything with the tea trees? That's what I'm really curious about, because this is tea, this is tea, this is bishako, but this is bishako also, but yeah, tea. So do you plan to do anything with tea, and have you cut off any tea trees?
Down on near the rice fields, those were overgrown. Those walls were overgrown with all sorts of plants, including tea trees, and so I was pretty indiscriminate with cutting those. In other areas, I haven't cut the tea trees.
Right.
I do know that the families used to. I mean, the reason that these are here is that they would pick the tea by themselves for their own use.
Yeah.
And there's a larger concentration of them down under the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have for all zairai? So the local tea trees, they have all very big leaves with deep veins.
Okay.
Yeah, just like the ones we have at Ryunohara.
Huh.
Also oak. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so let's go up a bit more because I want to show. I want you to show them what you do up there. Like,
Okay. Oh, I should have.
Right, and this This is?
Yeah, well, this is half a piece of an old tatami that I brought up here so that we can practice archery.
Can I show the camera like how you slice it up?
Yeah,
so it's tatami with the plastic sheeting below. This is top, I presume. And you can see the insides, all the reeds.
Yeah, this is the old-fashioned stuff. So I called a tatami store in the neighborhood and asked if they had an old piece they were going to throw away. And this is what they gave me.
Okay, I just threw some away. But anyway, so you slice this in half, and now it's become what?
Now it's our archery target. We come up here and we play around with archery.
Okay.
It's not something I had done before, but it's something I always wanted to try. So I have the space. So.
And this is deer.
Yeah, you can see on the side, I think deer are eating this.
Okay. Okay, and that's all this rocks here.
Yeah.
One whole wall here, and so this all used to be mulberry.
I believe so.
And your property goes up to where?
So my property goes up to the ridge line right there, and it follows that ridge line all the way, almost to the top of the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did your daughter say when you first came here?
Well,
this is our land.
Yeah. So I had asked her in advance, you know, what do you think if I bought a mountain and it would just be our mountain and nobody else would go there?
Yeah.
And she thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying it. And the first time we came, like I said, the ridge wasn't there, so we had to walk in from the far side.
Yeah.
It's about a 10-minute walk, you know, some very steep hills.
Yeah.
And then we got here and we spread out a plastic sheet and we brought some food and we had a picnic, and I said, so what do you think? And she said, it's too big.
This wall alone is really grand.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, if you just think about, you know, like the old farmer told me, probably people were using this area from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
So 400 years ago, growing their own food and, you know, living kind of out in nature.
Yeah.
And building this wall, piece by piece, with stones they probably brought up the hill, you know, 1, 2, 3 at a time from the river.
Have you found any pottery, any broken pieces that they may have left behind?
Nothing old. Something that might be, say, 20, 30, 40 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize the roots were still on the ground.
Yeah, the roots are still there. So this is a quick lesson for anyone who wants to look at Japanese rock walls. The rock walls are placed in such a way that they are interlocking, and if you have any rocks that are all the same way, like this way and then this way, the wall is weaker, whereas this wall is a lot stronger, because even if there are 3 pieces like this, 1, 2, 3, you can see the top ones here are interlocking, one jutting in here, another one this one here is not so good because it's 2 rocks placed on top of each other like this. This one could slip, but overall this is a very good wall with interlocking pieces that will not come out, and if this has been around for 400 years, it'll stand here for another 400 at least. And how do they decide which trees to thin?
Yeah, so I had the president of a forestry company up here to look at the trees for me one time, and he was explaining that when you thin the trees, you look at places like this where they're very close together, the roots are overlapping. That means they're fighting for nutrients.
This tree?
Yeah, especially these 3, but there's there's also other close ones to there.
Here, but let's say if it's this tree, which one wins?
Probably the biggest one, as long as it's not too close to other trees. So in this case, you probably cut 2 and leave 1.
Yeah. Maybe this one stays.
Probably.
Okay. And what happens in like 50 years if the trees get a lot bigger? Do they harvest them, or if you want to keep them for longer, do you chop off more trees around the area, or do you just leave them naturally after the first thinning?
That's a good question. In this case, we'll thin them next year, or in 2023, and
this year.
This year. And he was saying that in another 10 years they'll be perfect size to harvest and sell. But because there's no road, they'd have to set up a wire down across the river to get them out. So at that time we'll have to take another look and see if it's profitable or not. It probably won't be, so they'll just stay. So like you said, in another 50 years, it might be time to thin again. But because the trees won't be harvestable, they'll be too big.
Oh.
People don't want really large trees anymore. Then the prefecture may not pay for that thinning. I don't know how that works.
Oh. Okay, so you'll be left with very huge trees that may be here forever. That's good.
Yeah.
Do you plan to put other trees in?
I don't plan to put other trees in. In this space, I might. There's lots of possibilities.
Just let them grow out naturally?
Yeah, thin them again, let them grow naturally so there's a little more sunlight. You can, it'd be a great place to camp. You could even have outdoor movies. You could string ropes between the trees and play around.
One thing I'm curious about is if these sugi trees can be used for their bark. Because you have to thin them, right?
Yeah.
And typically after thinning them, you can get rid of the bark. Or you could actually get rid of the bark first and the trees will become stronger and then harvest them next year. So it's a possibility, but I'm just wondering if this tree is big enough to be harvested for a roof. So if you're going to I'm assuming like 1/3 of the trees are going to be thinner or more?
Maybe, yeah, a third.
1/3? Yeah. So 1/3 of these trees is a lot of bark.
Yeah.
And perhaps the house could have a bark roof, maybe.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a good idea.
Is there so much bark for this one tree?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about trees. What's this tree?
Yeah, check out this really cool persimmon tree. On properties like this, you'll have lots of fruit trees, persimmons, yuzu, chestnuts, other things that they can use and eat year-round. This one just grew into this really interesting shape.
Where does it start?
Where does it start?
Here. Okay, it goes like this. Wow, that branch is like really going everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you harvested anything from this tree?
No, in fact, I've never seen a persimmon on this tree. I've seen small ones on other trees, but they never get big because the monkeys get them.
Okay. Right. Okay, are we going anywhere?
Yeah. Do you want to see the water source for the property?
Okay.
It's about 3 minutes this way. Let's go take a look. I started coming here, it was summertime. I hadn't found this water source yet. And so every day I was carrying in 4 liters of water. So one day I just started walking down this path and I found the water source and I was so excited.
Oh, yes, so it's here.
Yeah, this is it. This is how you create a water source in areas like this. You can see that they took some kind of concrete and made a small dam here and embedded rocks in it. And then the pipe goes through the concrete. And so it takes some maintenance. You have to come here, clean out the junk that's in there, clean out the filter so it doesn't get clogged. And you can see right here, a large rock fell out of the concrete.
Right.
So at some point I'm going to have to ask somebody what kind of concrete to use. Come up and put another rock there and dam it up.
Right.
Raise the water level.
Can you just place a rock there in the meantime?
No.
No.
I mean, you could, but it's going to leak around it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to
Yeah. You have to fill up the holes with concrete for it to work. Yeah. This is where it comes from.
How often do you have to clear this? After every rain or once a month?
If you have a community of people relying on it,
Yeah.
or anybody relying on it for day-to-day use, then after a heavy rain, you'll probably need to come up and clean some things out. Especially in the winter. It doesn't really matter to me if water's flowing or not. So
Is it a lot stronger in the spring?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the amount of rain really affects the amount of water that comes out.
Nice.
That's good.
One question here though. Yeah. Can you come back for a while? Around here. All this grass.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
So when I first purchased it, it hadn't been cut in at least a year and a half.
Okay.
And during that time, it's not the height, but it's the type of grass. The larger varieties come in.
Yeah.
Wow. First time.
Is that?
It's going to have to be above head level, right?
Right.
So yeah, getting it up there. I don't really have an idea for where I want everything. You know, on one hand, well, it should probably be behind the house. Because toilet and the shower are probably going to be close together, right?
Okay. So, just a few questions about what you want to do with this place.
Yeah.
So, what's your vision for this place in a couple of years? Are there other people you want to get on this plot of land to use the land? Do you want to use it as accommodation? Do you just want to have it as a campground? What's your vision for this place in the next couple of years?
Yeah. So right now I don't have a budget to reach a single goal all at once. So I have to take the project in steps.
Yeah.
And so because it's very remote and beautiful and rugged, I want to, in the beginning, focus on the natural aspect of it. Right now, disaster prevention is a topic in Japan, and there are local community leaders who are interested in giving kids the experience of living life with no electricity and no running water, learning, you know, how to make food, how to use the bathroom, things like that. And they've discussed having kids up here for that purpose. There's also a new school that's going to be opening up very close to here in an old elementary school building in 2 years. And I would like to propose to them integrate this land into their curriculum somehow for nature-based education, exploring traditional ways of doing things, perhaps farming, stuff like that. As for the house, you had a really good idea of using it with no floor for a while. I wasn't thinking about camping inside the house, but I think that's a good idea, a good first step. In the beginning, we have to take out all the old and rotten stuff. A lot of the walls, a lot of the ceiling. Some of the pillars will have to be replaced. I'll have to get a carpenter in here to help me with that. But actually doing that is the reason that I had the electricity restarted here, so we could do that eventually. After that, the next step would be putting on some exterior walls, of course taking care of the leaky roof and having the house be a more comfortable place to be. Getting electric outlets put in around the house, things like that.
So one of the things I haven't told all of you is that there's someone in the village, Ryujin, who is giving us a house. And the Ryunohara volunteer house will be about 20 minutes from here. So if you do come in April or May, you could stay in the Ryunohara volunteer house in Ryujinmura, and you could come here, and we're only 50 minutes away by foot to the Kumano Corridor, so you could also explore the Kumano Corridor, the pilgrimage trail. But the thing is, if you're one of the first people who come, you have to deal with no toilet and no bathroom here for the first few days. You don't have to stay here overnight. You can stay in the place with the bathroom and toilet, but in daytime there's no bathroom, no toilet. So what's the first priority? Like, what comes first? Is it going to be a toilet? Is it going to be a shower?
Yeah, that's a good question. If it's in the springtime, maybe we don't need a shower for daytime use. Getting a toilet here, it'll be a construction site style toilet. That'll involve digging a hole under it to put that in. It'll be a little time consuming. So until we do get that put in, what I do now is use a toilet tent, and it's a tent that has no bottom, and so we dig a hole, put the tent over it, and that's your privacy. And then, you know, when you use it, you just sprinkle a little dirt, and it controls the odor, and at the end of the day, you fill it in, and next day you use a different site. Shower. I'll have to figure out how to get a solar water heater installed. That's not something I can do by myself. We'd probably have to hire a carpenter to come help with the volunteers to do that. But those are all projects that need to be done in the beginning. And another really fun project is, we saw one water source, but actually this land has an even better water source. It's across the river. It's up in a valley where no people live. The entire valley is unpopulated. So it's very pure and beautiful water, and there's always good water flow throughout the year. So the way water rights work in Japan is, once you have the water rights, you have them forever. And so even though that's not on my land, those rights are associated with this land, and so I can go rehook it up anytime.
So is that something you're going to do right away, or is that something that comes after the demolition of whatever that needs to be removed inside?
It could go either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
for example, if volunteers are interested but they really want a flushing toilet, then I'd say the water comes first.
Well, I think if you want to volunteer here, you shouldn't be asking for a flushing toilet. A compost toilet would be nice, but yeah. So, So the thing is, how many volunteers are we looking at? I think we mentioned. Okay, so Ryunohara's guest volunteer house can house up to 6 to 8 people, but the issue is the car. So you have to drive here, and you can fit 4 more people in your car.
Yeah.
So I think a maximum of 4 volunteers. And people have to be fit. They have to be able to climb up to get here. You saw how steep some parts were, and they have to be okay with not having a toilet for the first few days, like here. But you could, of course, you do it at the house, you know. And what else? Will you be providing lunch? Will you be making lunch together here?
Yeah, we can cook here, or I can bring
bentos.
Bentos for the participants.
Okay, so the volunteers get lunch, but no dinner. Dinner is like your own stuff. Like you can get your stuff at Ryujin. So
you said a maximum of 4. I'd say also a minimum of 2.
Minimum of 2. Yeah. Why though?
Mostly for safety. If something happens, if there's an injury, for example, then I can't care for the person and go to the fire station.
Right. Okay, so what happens if somebody gets injured here? Like, there's no road access, so the ambulance can it stop nearby and come in?
Yeah, worst case scenario, they can bring a stretcher from the parking lot.
Okay.
And the fire station is just a 1-minute drive from here.
Yeah, very close by. So there's also Dr. Heli here. So the helicopter can come evacuate you if you have a heart attack. Hopefully you don't get a heart attack here, but yeah.
And I'm trained in first aid.
See. So, what else? Okay, so I need to go back to the vision. Like you mentioned, the school is coming here. Disaster preparedness. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah. You know, these last few years, especially with Corona, camping has become a big boom in Japan. And then you know the disaster prevention, how to live in case of a disaster. It's just been a growing trend. So I think there will always be people interested in doing that, especially if I created some sort of regular program where they could come out, a different group of people. The first weekend of every month I'm doing this training. I think I'd always have customers.
How to start a fire. How to make a toilet, like a place for you to poop. What else?
For example,
You mentioned you hunt. You can hunt.
Well, I have my hunting license, but I haven't done it yet. Okay. And only for trapping, not shooting.
Only for trapping, okay. All right.
That would be a lot of fun, but if you offer that to customers, but then you don't catch something, what do you do?
Right, okay. So simple things like how to prepare fire, how to keep warm, how to go, and what else do you need?
For that nature experience? For example, how to eat cold food if you don't have a fire. Where to find water. If the water's not clean, what to do about it.
How to pipe in water. Okay. All right. So now that's what you're going to sign up for if you're coming. The future here is probably going to be filled with kids learning how to chop firewood, stuff like that. And you mentioned a sauna.
Oh yeah, I have a friend who's he's really into tent saunas, which are popular in Japan right now. So we talked about him loaning me the money to buy a sauna setup. First of all, that would involve setting up the good water source first.
Right.
But you have a wood-fired, a wood stove-heated tent sauna with a pool filled with beautiful natural water next to it.
Right.
Get hot and then jump in the cold water.
Okay. Yeah, and so there's lots of firewood. So lots of firewood. So that's something that could happen also. Yeah. Okay, so now let's have a look inside the house to see what needs to be fixed, what needs to be done first, and what it may become in a couple of years. So let's go inside. Just wanted to point out to everyone, this here is holding on to a very long piece of cedar wood. It could be hinoki, I'm not sure. It's going all the way to the other side. So this kind of construction, where you have the rafters holding up a beam like this, will be only used for people with lots of money, because it's very difficult to build. So this house here is a very good example of A house built probably 80, 90 years ago. I'm not sure. 80, 90? Yeah.
Could be.
Could be. I wouldn't say it's more than 120 years old. It's less than that. But it's a very well built house. All these are beautiful. Okay, so what's the problem here?
So the problem here is that there's a leak in the roof, and that's actually what we've come here today to do. We're going to put a plastic sheet over that leak and hopefully sort of stop the damage a little bit. But that leak has water damage, the flooring is all rotten and has to go. This pillar needs to be cut probably to about here, and then the bottom part replaced. This floor, this is where sliding doors would have been. This needs to go, and that'll be replaced eventually too. But like you said, using it without a floor might be a good first step.
Yeah. So I guess volunteers coming here for the first few weeks would have to get rid of all this wooden stuff. They are not going to work on this thing.
No.
And they're not going to like chop this off. They're just removing what's damaged.
Yeah.
So that's the very first thing for this house, I guess. All the floors have to go.
Yeah, all the floors go. Eventually, all the mud on the walls around the ceiling area too, and then all the ceiling panels also will be gone.
Actually, it looks really nice from this part. I'll switch the camera around so you can see how nice the mud wall looks there. Okay.
I wouldn't, yeah. And this also is not good. I'd come back on this one.
Okay. This was my house before I repaired it.
Really?
Yeah. It was like this. Not this like this, but yeah, it was like that. Okay. Oh, there's some spare towels here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've turned the camera around, you were there, now you're here. So you can see how nice those mud walls are. They look very new.
Yeah.
These are arakabe, which is the very farmhouse style house walls, which are just mud fixed in the wall without any shikui, without any lime. They look very nice. It's only this part that's a real problem.
Yeah.
It's gone black.
Yeah, and you can see how nice these pillars are. They're nice thick wood, and they haven't been water damaged at all, so that's why we're confident that the house can be renovated.
Yeah, even this part is okay. This part of the house is it's a bit iffy on this side, but it's alright.
But I think eventually I want to get rid of the ceilings.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you get rid of the ceilings, well, that ceiling could go. This one could. You were here just now, and now you have been moved to the main door. So from the main door, you can see this. It's a window there, and that's the living area. Then you get access to the warehouse here. This could be a bedroom also. And this is the doma, which has been filled with concrete. And yeah, so I guess if you get rid of the floor there, this could be a really nice house to camp in for a while. And that's the ceiling. So you can see some mud there coming out. That's from the roof tiles. Just below the roof tiles is a layer of mud and wood. But nice beams. Okay, it should be slightly safer.
Yeah.
So the drone shot we shot at the end didn't get recorded, so I needed a way to end the video. And thanks for coming on the call. How should people contact you if they want to volunteer? Could you end the video with that, like contact details?
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for watching. I hope the project is interesting to you. You can contact me by email if you like, and if you're interested in following the project, you can follow on Instagram as well, and you can contact me there as well. I hope to meet some of you this year, do some work together. And anyway, let's have a great 2023 and make lots of progress on our own projects.
All right, thanks, Todd. And with that, bye. Thank you.
See ya.
See you.
Bye.
So you have heard it. I'll put the contact details in the description below.